Part 56. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 551. Chapter 551. No, your mother is not dead. I am your mother. Why, you don't even recognize me now? On the one hand, a fire destroyed my appearance. Now, I finally have my current appearance. You know, for so many years, I have never forgotten to look for you. I have always been called Yeking Han, and this name has never changed. Yeking Han looked at her indifferently. Elisa was stunned for a moment, and then added, "You don't understand. On the other hand, I have lost my memory, so I forgot what your names are. I only remember that I have a child and a husband, but who are they?" "What? I don't remember anything. I only remember that I have family members, but I don't remember where they are. But I have been checking for these years, and finally I found it. Good boy, Mom will take you home today." As said, Eliza wanted to go up and catch Yeking Han, but the man dodged her. He looked at Eliza quietly and said, "Since I am your son and you are my mother, why didn't you say this when I first came and only say this now?" "Eliza, what do you want to do?" Yeking Han is a very calm-minded person, and Elisa did not expect that after she said that she was Yeking Han's mother, Yeking Han's first reaction was not to recognize her, but to doubt her. This is not something she considers at all. She thought that it was an honor for anyone to be her son, but obviously, Yeking Han didn't think so. Elisa gritted her teeth, "Because my son cannot have women from outside. My son can only marry women from my palace. So, today, I am going to take her away." "Eliza, you want to take me away? Have you asked me for my opinion? You and I are partners, but now, do you want to violate our agreement?" Fenling looked at Elisa coldly. Obviously, she doesn't care whether Elisa is Yeking Han's mother. Because she and Yeking Han both came through time, and they do not belong to this body in a certain part, so their feelings will not be affected by any factors of this body. She and Yeking Han don't care who the parents of this body are. If the parents of this body treat them badly, they can always let it go. What's more, who this Eliza is has not yet been confirmed. This is not up to you. Eliza smiled and said, "Why, do you feel weak all over now?" She looked at Yeking Han and Fenling and smiled. However, after waiting for a long time, she still didn't see any uncomfortable reaction from these two people. Elisa frowned. What on earth was going on? Shouldn't this be this reaction? I know you put something in our food, so we have already taken the antidote, and your little something has no effect on us at all. Eliza, I advise you to give us the fire crystal as soon as possible, otherwise, you will get neither of us. Impossible, the fire crystal is the treasure of our palace. Without the fire crystal, I would not have my appearance. It is impossible for me to give the fire crystal to you. However, if he is willing to accompany me, then it is not impossible." Eliza looked at Yeking Han and said, that look was not at all the way a mother looks at her son. Fenling and Yeking Han hated looking at each other so much. "Eliza, you yourself forced us to confront you. Yeking Han won't give it to you, and we have to take the fire crystal," Fenling said. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 552. Chapter 552. If Elisa were gentler, Fenling probably wouldn't be so stubborn. In fact, if the fire crystal was really what Elisa needed, then she really wouldn't grab it forcefully. However, now, Elisa clearly is. Wanting to separate the two of them for her own ambitions was Fenling's bottom line and Yeking Han's bottom line. Therefore, it was obvious that Eliza directly stepped on the bottom line of both people. "I will not agree to stay, Huo Jing, we are bound to get it." Yeking Han looked at Elisa indifferently, and did not regard her as his mother. Elisa looked at Yeking Han in disbelief. "Whether you admit it or not, I am your mother, your biological mother, and you are not willing to admit that. How could there be such a child? Shouldn't all children in the world listen to their mothers? Why are you here at Yeking-han? My mother is a gentle and kind-hearted woman. If she knew that my wife was by my side, she would definitely bless me very much, but you have not. No matter whether you are related by blood to me or not, you are not my mother. If I want such a mother, I would rather think that my mother is dead. Yeking-han said. These words are cold and revealing, but very true. Yeking-han didn't feel sad at all. As long as you don't regard Elisa as your mother, you won't be sad. He is very happy now. If his so-called mother wants to deprive him of his happiness, then I'm sorry, but he will definitely not let her achieve it. Yeking-han, I am your mother. She is just a woman who has nothing to do with you. You want to be your own mother for this woman. Eliza screamed. I am not sorry to my biological mother. My mother said that if one day I find someone I love, I must take good care of her and protect her. So, I'm just doing what my mom tells me, that's all. Yeking-han said calmly. Damn woman. Eliza cursed her original body in her heart. Okay, what are you talking to a half-year-old child? Why are you talking so much? And Yeking-han, why do you remember so many things? Really are. Elisa sighed, but still did not intend to let Yeking-han go. No matter what, you must live in my palace. As for you, just stay here. Eliza didn't plan to say any more and pressed the button directly. Because of the huge fluctuations, both Fengling and Yeking-han were unable to stand firmly. After Fengling fell to the ground, she suddenly found that Yeking-han had disappeared. She screamed twice and found that she seemed to be the only one in the entire space. Sound. Zero orbit, do you know what is going on now? Fengling asked after calming down for a minute. This should be a closed space, but there is air circulation, but the direction of the circulation is particularly confusing, and the zero track cannot determine where the exit is. Or perhaps, this exit needs a remote control. She probably still needs me, so she didn't let me die immediately. Fengling immediately judged. Let's look around and see if we can find a way out. Okay, Ling Ling. After Zero Rails finished speaking, he said worriedly, Master, is young Master Ye in danger? No, he is very powerful, don't worry. Fengling shook her head, although that woman is a little scheming, she can't compare to Yeking-han. Moreover, she doesn't understand Yeking-han now. You have to know, people who don't understand Yeking-han will suffer big losses. He is just a dormant wolf. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 553. Chapter 553. Where's Lingling? On the other side, Yeking-han looked at Elisa indifferently, as if he wanted to kill Elisa. Inexplicably, Eliza felt her heart twitch. Damn it, why do you feel like this? Eliza frowned and put this feeling behind her. It must be an accident. She is safe now, but it is not certain how long she will be safe. You know, if a person stays in the dark for a long time, you'll go crazy. How long do you think that girl of yours can hold on? Don't worry, I will definitely release her when she goes crazy. Although Eliza was smiling, her words were indeed cruel. Yeking-han clenched her hands. If you do anything to her, I will make your life worse than death. I will do what I say. Don't worry, of course I won't do anything to her, because I still want you to do something for me. What's the matter? I need you to do a blood transfusion for me. You shouldn't disagree with this. After all, we are connected by blood. Elisa looked at Yeking-han softly and said something to tell Yeking-han not to be disgusted. A few words, my good son. I don't have a mother like you, so there's no need to tell me that. Tisk tisk tisk, it doesn't matter if you don't admit it anyway, there will be plenty of time to accept me in the future. Eliza smiled, however, we are not in a hurry. By the way, that girl wants the fire crystal for you, right? Mom will take you to see the fire crystal. The fire crystal is rich in energy. That kind of energy, something you can never imagine in your life. I have been waiting for a destined person. Now the wait is here, this destined person is you. Therefore, this fire crystal should be yours. You know how to use it? Yekinghan had a cold expression. Eliza relaxed her shoulders. I don't know, I discovered this fire crystal by accident. Someone happened to want it, so I contacted it. Who knew, what a coincidence, she turned out to be your girlfriend. Elisa patted Yekinghan on the shoulder. Actually, I have no ill intentions towards your girlfriend. As long as she is willing to give up on you, then everything will be solved. So, you'd better hope that your little girlfriend can, as long as she figures it out, everything will be easy. Why are you so determined to ask me to marry a girl from your palace? Although Yekinghan was worried, it didn't show on her face at all. Because, only in this way can you be my medicine jar. The girl in our palace has been immersed in medicine since she was a child. After being with her, your physique will change, which will be more conducive to my absorption and change my appearance. Why, you don't want to see your mother his true appearance? Don't you want to see me 15 years ago? Eliza's fingers turned around Yekinghan's body. Your heart tells me that what you think is just that you have a tough mouth. Yekinghan. This woman is really able to think blindly. What do you want me to do? After seeing the fire crystal, Yekinghan wrote down the route. Eliza didn't expect Yekinghan's memory to be so good that he could never forget it. If she had known, she would never have brought her over to see Huo Zheng. Isn't this just telling people where their money is? It's just that Eliza doesn't know that she made this very wrong decision. When she thought about it later, she almost regretted it to death. Really? Feng Ling, on the other hand, found a place in the space with relatively greater air circulation. It should be right here, 0 track. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 554. Chapter 554. Well, this is the place with the densest air circulation, but Lingling, we spent a long time, it's been 2 days, we don't know what's going on outside. Now we have just found the exit, but whether we can get out is another matter. Let's give it a try. There's nothing we can do now. Who is that Elisa? It's still up for debate. What do Lingling think? Is she Ye Xiao's mother? I think it's not groundless. She has been living in country Ye Kinghan's existence, except for the Ye family, has been kept secret abroad. If you don't really know Ye Kinghan, you won't be like this. But, again, she is very different from the mother Ye Kinghan described, so I suspect. Does the master still doubt that she is not the master's mother? Lingjia asked. Feng Ling nodded. Actually, it's not doubtful. I just think that if we can pass through, why can't others? It's also possible that the soul in her body is not Ye Kinghan's mother. You say woolen cloth. Lingling, I think what you said makes sense. 0 track thought for a while and said. Well, so, how is everything? We still have to get out, huh? Feng Ling said this while touching the button. Unexpectedly, she actually touched a button. Maybe the people here did not think that people in the deep darkness can find the right path, but they never expected this. The person is Feng Ling, and Feng Ling is an existence that can be seen clearly in the dark. So, for her, this place was not as torturous as others. Ye Kinghan did this because she realized this. Found it, here Feng Ling pressed the button, and then, a track appeared in front of Feng Ling. The front was still very dark, and no one knew where it led. However, at this time, Zero Orbit smelled a familiar smell. Master, this place seems to have the smell of fire crystals. It is very strong, even stronger than before. Menjing's eyes lit up. Maybe there is a fire crystal hidden in this place. I don't know if Elisa didn't find it or hid it secretly. Let's go and have a look. Good master. Fenling walked forward with zero track. There was no danger on the road ahead. It should be a place specifically for Eliza and others to walk, so there were no mechanisms set up, which also made it convenient for Fenling and others. It's nearby Lingling. Zero Orbit said excitedly, this fire crystal is a very good thing, but it is too difficult to refine. If Lingling can refine it here, then the safety for them will be greatly increased. After all, it is impossible for Eliza to come here temporarily. Let's look for it, Fenling said. Then, he and Zero Orbit started looking for fire crystals. Half a day later, Fenling suddenly saw a ray of red light in a crack in the rocks. Zero Track, come and have a look. Zero Track flew to Fenling and shouted, that's it, Ling Ling, this is the fire crystal, my god, there really is one here. When Fenling pulled out the fire crystal, the stone next to it also cast a red light. This is where the fire crystal grows. That's why there are fire crystals on it, because there are too many of them, so in the process of growing upward, it accidentally grows in the outside world. Fenling looked at so many fire crystals and said, Zero Rail, you know, this time, we made a profit. And it's making a lot of money. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 555. Chapter 555. The market price of fire crystals outside is several million per plant, but here, there are so many. Great, Fenling, we are developed. Zero Track circled around Fenling, very happy. We will refine it now. Once it is refined, we will transplant the remaining fire crystals into the space. This will be enough for us to use for a lifetime. At first, because the amount of fire crystals was so small that it was almost impossible to find them, the medicine that Fenling was going to refine was more or less irritating. However, if there were so many, then she could refine it. Make milder medicines. In this way, they won't worry about backlash. Okay, Lingling, you can refine it, and I'll take care of your hair. Fenling nodded, then took out the furnace and started refining. What's wrong? You're worried about your little woman. Don't worry. Your little woman shouldn't be too crazy now. However, you have to know that it has been almost 3 days. She has been in there without eating or drinking. An ordinary person, at most I can only hold on for 7 days, what do you think? Eliza slowly induced Yeking-han. However, what she doesn't know is that Yeking-han is not afraid of this at all now, because there is a lot of food in Fengling's space. Although she has not prepared a lot, there is no problem at all for 10 days and a half. In the past 3 years, Fenling's space has developed into a small world, in which Fenling can live the same life as outside. It's just that this small world is still too small now. Jingjing said that after a while, it will slowly grow bigger, and then, he can go in with her. So, he is not worried about this at all now. The only thing he is worried about is not knowing where Fenling is. Because he doesn't know where Fenling is, he can only stand still now. What do you want to do? Yeking-han looked at Elisa indifferently and said. It's very simple, eat well, and then do as I say. After half a month, you can give me a blood transfusion. You should be willing, after all, I gave you life, didn't I? If you were my mother, I would, but you are not. Based on the time spent with Elisa, Yeking-han has confirmed that Elisa's soul is another soul, because her mother cannot speak the languages of so many countries no matter what. His mother is a native crossing people, it is impossible to master the languages of so many countries in just a dozen years. When he was a child, his father complained to him that his mother was really not gifted in languages. If she wanted to travel abroad, he would be really afraid that she would get lost and not be able to get her back because she was unable to communicate through language. Although he can no longer remember what his mother looks like, he knows her likes, dislikes and habits very well. This point cannot be changed at all, but Eliza is a completely different person, and there is no shadow of his mother. Why don't you believe it? When I take you for a paternity test tomorrow, you should believe it. Eliza doesn't understand why Yekinghan is so persistent that she is not his mother. This man is really just as difficult as that girl. She is really weak enough to live in this body. If it were someone else, the blood would probably have been replaced by now. Yekinghan didn't say that it was nothing to him. He would not admit it whether he was a child in this body or not. But now, he was stalling for time with his words, so he did not refuse Eliza's proposal. Then let's wait until the results come out tomorrow. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 556. Chapter 556. Yekinghan looked at Elisa indifferently, then turned and left. Looking at Yekinghan like this, Eliza stamped her feet fiercely. Damn it! Your Majesty, why don't you just force him to donate blood to you? What do you know? If you don't do it willingly, this blood won't last long at all. Eliza rubbed her brows with a headache. If it could be forced, of course she would think so, but this was not a question of force at all. If the blood is forcibly changed, it will only last for 1 year, and after 1 year, it will need to be changed again. With Yekinghan's unpredictable character, she might not be willing to acknowledge her as her mother at that time. Moreover, to be honest, she is not Yekinghan's mother, so Eliza herself feels a little guilty. Forget it, let's wait until the paternity test is done tomorrow. Please step back first. Yes, Her Majesty the Queen. Alan nodded, and then quietly retreated. Lord. Yeah, over there. Elisa didn't know that Yekinghan left the palace directly at dusk. If she knew, she might break into a cold sweat because she already felt that her safety measures were very good. However, Yekinghan can come in and out silently. If it weren't for Fengling, it would not be impossible for Yekinghan to directly kill Eliza with a knife. How are you doing in China these days? Everything is fine, but, my lord, the mistress, people in China are now looking for the mistress from several forces, so. I know, tell them, I will definitely bring her back safely. If I can't bring her back, I am willing to die to apologize. Your Majesty, the man suddenly raised his head. What the Lord said. Remember, in this world, either Fengling and I are here, or Fengling and I are gone. There are only 2 possibilities. Therefore, when you call me your master, you must also treat Ling Ling as your master. But do you understand? Yes. I understand. The man knelt down on one knee and said without saying much. Yekinghan nodded. It should be almost time. With Ling Ling's speed, if she can come out in the next 2 days, she should be able to come out. Let's wait. If we can wait until she comes out, it will be more convenient for us to move. It is by the Lord. The man retreated. Then, Yekinghan went back directly and returned to the place where the incident occurred to take a look at the situation. Just as he was about to go back, he suddenly felt the ground beneath his feet moving. Yekinghan frowned, then took out his sword and removed all the dirt on the ground. Ling Ling. Yekinghan didn't expect to see Fengling today. He squatted down excitedly and picked up Fengling. The girl's face was very pale. It seems like a lot of energy was expended. Ling Ling, are you okay? Ye King Han asked worriedly. Fen Ling opened her eyes and glanced at the person holding her. She curled her lips and said, "It's you. I thought I wouldn't see you until tomorrow." "It's nothing. I can still die. Do you know, I found fire inside, Jing, the pill has been refined and this is yours." Fen Ling took out a porcelain bottle and handed it to Ye King Han. "I have already eaten, but I am too distracted by the refining waste, so I don't have the energy now, but I will be fine in a while. The recovery ability of the fire crystal is great." "Thank you." Ling. Ye King Han grabbed the porcelain bottle in his hand, her emotions fluctuating a bit. "It doesn't matter. By the way, I'm sleepy. I'll leave everything to you. I'll have a day off tomorrow and I can fight back the day after tomorrow." "That's right, I'm also planning to fight back if I can't find you the day after tomorrow." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 557. Chapter 557 Finale. The next day, Eliza found Ye King Han and said, "Let's do a paternity test." Ye King Han did not disagree, because Fen Ling had a speech break today, and him going for a paternity test could make Fen Ling's safety factor even greater. Elisa didn't think there was anything wrong with Ye King Han suddenly being so talkative. She had always believed that Ye King Han had always refused to admit it because there was no paternity test. If there was a paternity test, then Ye King Han would be able to believe her. She felt that as long as she did a paternity test, Ye King Han could give her a blood transfusion. After the two people completed the paternity test, they each returned to their rooms, because the results needed to come out the next day, so Elisa had been waiting quietly. The next day, Eliza placed the paternity test report in front of Ye King Han. "Look. We are really related by blood." Ye King Han glanced at it with very calm eyes and no other reaction. This made Elisa very confused. Why was Ye King Han still like this if the results hadn't already come out? "Can you donate blood, are you willing?" "I don't want to." Ye Qing looked at her coldly. "I said, from beginning to end, I am only willing to give it to my mother, and you, not my mother. We have the paternity test report. I saw it, but you only occupied my mother's body. Your soul is not mine." Ye King Han took out a pill and gave it to Eliza. "This is the medicine. Take it. If and does not occupy my mother's body, nothing will happen. But if you occupy it, your soul will." He was forcefully pulled out and left in a state of disbelief. I am your mother." Eliza is obviously unwilling to take the medicine from Ye King Han's cell phone. Ye King Han curled his lips and said, "Look, you don't want to." "I'm not unwilling." "Then you eat." Ye King Han looked at Elisa and said. Elisa was going crazy. She looked at Ye King Han fiercely and said, "Ye King Han, if you don't exchange blood with me today, then your little girlfriend will cease to exist. In this way, you still don't want to. Are you talking about me again?" Fen Ling came out from behind at some point. Elisa was so frightened that her hair stood on end. "Who are you?" "I am Fen Ling, have you forgotten?" Fen Ling smiled and said, "Don't you really think that place can really prevent me from escaping?" "Eliza, you underestimate us too much. Since we are willing to come over to negotiate, it means that we have our own capabilities. You know the reason why Ye King Han wants to stay here, don't you? Now that I have come out, do you think he is still willing to hear any other titles? You are shameless. Come on, arrest them all. You have no chance." Fen Ling's eyes were cold. She snapped her fingers, and immediately after, two groups of men in black suddenly appeared and killed all Eliza's people. Fen Ling glanced at it and said, "Tisk, tisk, tisk, why do you have one more person to deal with than mine? Unhappy? Pay attention to it in the future." Ye King Han smiled. They went back, but Eliza did not succeed. After returning to China, their lives returned to normal. Fenling gave birth to Yeking Han's child this year. In the second year, the remaining twins were a boy and a girl. The girl was the younger sister and was particularly cute. Although the boy was cold, he was like Yeking Han is very similar. From then on, the two people lived a happy life. End of this chapter.